Welcome everybody. I presume my audio is coming in clearly and you can see my screen.
Yep.
If not, pipe up. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have used Salesforce or not, but this platform is built on Salesforce, and right now we have a system that basically creates all of the features that were in the old system. So why did we make a new system that has the same features as the old system? This one is much more extendable. So we brought it to this point so we could release it, and now we can start really ramping it up. We can pretty much do anything with this in a very quick manner. I put this thing together with Lindsay in about 4 months from start to finish, with only one and a half developers. So that's, there's a lot of leverage here with this platform. We can do a lot of cool stuff with it, but right now we just have the MVP, which is let's replace what we already have. So that's what this is today, and that's what I'm going to demo to you guys. So I'm going to start from the trainers aspect of it, which is creating courses, getting resources, setting up your locations and stuff. And then we'll go over to the community side, which is sort of the students' view. In the future, everything will be on the community, but to expedite release, we have this part, which is internal Salesforce. So you guys are inside there with us just as a regular user. So with that, let's go ahead and just start a quick tour. So when you guys sign in, you will be either on the community side or this side, depending on wherever you bookmark. Let's just say you popped in through here. This is your start page. Over here by the 3x3 menu, you can access various things like the community, the course manager, which is where you'll be managing all your courses, and then all these constructs down here like home, ILT locations, my media. It's just some resources there for you guys. So up at the top, we have event types. We have locations, ILT locations, which is instructor-led training, and files. The files is basically just a place where you can upload files, you can share them with each other, you can share them out to us, we can share stuff to you. It's just a collaborative space for files. Right now, all we have in here is, if you go into libraries and you look at trainer resources, you have all the stuff that was available on the other platform, like badges, logos, presentations. Here's the Scrum at Scale guide, for example. That's pretty much it. So anytime we have something to share with you or an update, we will send it to you through here, and these are versioned. To generate a preview, you can see the content, you can download it, you can see the details, and if there was multiple versions, you'd be able to see whichever version you wanted to see. Right now we only have one, so that's it. That's the version. Let's see here. Moving on to locations. This is where you would enter every place that you conduct physical on-site training. Right now I just have the Vail Hyatt for demonstration purposes, but this is where the more specific you can get on the address, the closer on the map it will align, and that's up to you how you want that. So going over to event types, this is like what types of classes you have, whether it's a course for Scrum at Scale certification or just a webinar or a meetup that you're conducting. You can put all those stuff in here. You can put those things in here just by clicking new. Fill out the information for the event, and then that's it. So you can put all your descriptive information here, and this goes along with when the course code is redeemed, and I'll show you that here in a minute. But going forward, I'm going to go into the practitioner event. So this is like where you would go to if you want to have a new class, which is the Scrum at Scale practitioner. You come into the Scrum at Scale practitioner event. I'm going to go add class. There's some search parameters up here at the top. This is like down the road when you have 50 or so courses and you don't want to look at that whole list. You can just use these filters to find your objects. So if I go to, I'm going to add a class here. All of this information is copied from that previous event construct that I showed you before. So you can have multiple of the same ones with different variations. Let's say I want to have a different description for, let's say, virtual courses versus like on-site courses. You can have 2 of them. So you can have the events are basically templates for a class. So once you cut a class off of a template, all of its information flows over here. Some of the important bits on here is right now, virtual course. If I have virtual course, I don't need an address, but here's under location where I would find the address. If I put an address here while virtual class is checked, the virtual class overrides the address and it won't show it. You can choose a location, a language. Right now, these are the options. It's basically just I copied the list of whatever languages were available on published courses in the old system. I just brought them over, so we can add new ones if you want. Just open a support case. I'm going to choose French for this one. This is the link, the trainer registration link, where you would send your students. So when they come onto our calendar, they click a registration button. This is the site in which it will take them to. So presumably that's your Eventbrite or whatever platform you're using. I'm going to set the time here, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'm going to pick a date, say next Friday, the 15th, one day, and I'm going to pick a time zone. Denver, actually, how about Puerto Rico? It sounds a little warmer. And that's it. I can modify the title here if I want. So each course could have its own title. So I can just have Scrum Scale Practitioner X. I can modify the class description here. If you do modify this stuff, it only affects this class, not the event, not any other class. Let's see here, some of the other parameters like minimum seats, maximum seats, withdraw cutoff, registration cutoff. You can fill these out, but right now they're not super meaningful because you guys are handling your registration on your own end. So let's go.
Same with that. Sorry to interrupt, Rob. The same with that wait list. Same with that wait list option. So anything that's not associated with registering classes on the platform.
Right. And we could enable some of that stuff if that's how we want to go in the future, but that's definitely would be an iterative thing. So the second screen here is about sessions. Some of the trainers have, for example, they don't just have the course in one day or the virtual course in one or 2 days. It's like they'll do an hour a night over the course of like 5 weeks, 1 day a week or something. So here's where you could structure that. You can create a session. And this is entirely up to you. You can have you could even just put lunch in here. I'm gonna do lunch because it's getting close to lunchtime and I'm hungry. So let's see here, 12 p.m. to 12:59 p.m. And then gotta make sure to pick the same date. And just put lunch here in the description. Let's see here, save, moving on. Next page is instructors.
So just to be clear on that one with sessions,
yes,
you have to list the dates that you're doing it, or?
Okay, so the course, the first section is the course details. That would encompass the actual dates of the course. And then a session is like, think of a session as like just pieces of the course.
Yeah,
so
so like I'm teaching a class Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the entire month. I'd have to go in and list all of those out. Is that correct?
That's correct.
If you wanted to, right, Rob?
Yeah, Rob? Yeah. You don't have to. This is just functionality that's there. It came with the system. It's usable if you wanted to diagram it that way, and then I will show you shortly how these appear to the students once they register. So it's entirely up to you how you want to structure it. You have all the flexibility.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. Okay, so moving on to instructors. I'm going to set the instructors for the main course, and you can do Martin Trainer, which is that's who I'm logged in as right now, and I could do the same for the lunch, but I think the lunch won't have an instructor. But if you had multiple instructors, you could potentially put them in here into the different sessions. But keep in mind that the calendar only shows the instructor for the whole course, just to keep it simple. So we have that. Course materials. This is where you would upload a PDF specific to the course. You don't have to have one You don't have to have one version of courseware for like all of your events for all the same courses. You have to have one for each course. Let's see here. Let me find a PDF. I don't know if I have one. I probably should have figured that out beforehand. Let's see here. We'll just do the.
Good thing you have lots of friends on this call, Rob.
Yeah. Okay, so there's the courseware. We'll just say whatever. Click done. There it is. I'm going to choose this one to be instructors and students. Let's say you had 2 instructors on here and you wanted to share documents this way. I mean, I would use a different way of doing that, maybe email, but you can share them through here. So I just share it with everybody who has access to the course. And then once again, I'll show you once the student registers with us, how they get access to that. So that's the course. You can see sort of the loose details here in the list. This list will grow as you increase your course offerings, of course. Every time you create a course, just like the old system, it generates an access token for which you can distribute to your students. That's this number right here. In the future, we'll have it custom, so you can just set your own unique ID if you want to in here. But right now, we just have a generated hash. It should be statistically unique for a significant amount of number of courses that we will have. Let's see here. So that's pretty much it. You have the ability, you have some options over here. You can enroll students that are already in the community. Like if you don't want to hand out the tokens, you can just enroll them manually. That's probably not your preferred method. So here I'll show you the other side. So we're going to take this token, give it to the course, give it to your students. So the student will log in. They will go to our website. They will create a user. It's a self-registration process, which we will demo in the future. And then they will be a community member. And the way that you get to their site is you go to the 3x3 menu here, the app launcher, click on Scrum at Scale. This takes you to the community. And this is where the bulk of the functionality exists for distributing courses, giving quizzes, collaborating, media, file distributions, and all that. So this is the home page. If you go to Learn, has all things about learning. So the calendar, my learning, and then you can get back to my course manager. This link is actually going to change, so you'll be mindful that to get back to that other site, there's going to be a link on the calendar. I think is what we're going to do. We'll let you know. So with the course token, you go to Learn, go to My Learning. This pulls up the learning dashboard where you have all of your learning plans, your learning activities, things that are like, I signed up for a course. I will see that here. If I have a learning plan, like right now we have available for everybody, get to know the community platform, but you can register for. This is a series of videos generated by our team about the community, which is basically piecewise videos of all these things that I'm showing you right now. So you can just have and it's also an example of how the learning plans will work from now on. So you can see this is an entire course. At the top, you have an about section that tells you about the course. These are the activities that you'll be doing throughout the course. So it's a series of videos you'll have to watch. And there's so many of them so that they're just a couple minutes long, so you don't have to necessarily slog through a whole 30-minute video. And we can update these piecewise as we change the system. Feedback, you'll have these on yours, on your courses, which is not necessarily about you as an instructor. It's more about the course in general. So the way this works, you click Start, and then, oh, this one seems to be missing a couple parts.
Will we be able to see comments that were provided during the feedback, or just the scores?
It's just the scores.
In this one, Kim, there's just the scores, but in the actual, once a student takes the class and then they want to go and take the exam, they'll have to do a feedback questionnaire first, and those you'll be able to see.
Yeah, we'll have an instructor feedback survey for you, which you'll get reporting on. You won't get to see who submitted what, but you do get to see the responses. Okay, so with that, Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It would mean nobody can take the exam unless he or she provided feedback, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so as a student, I'm going to submit this code that I received from my instructor and click on register. Wait for the response. So we get this little thing. It says, welcome to my learning. Okay, so I'll go to learn, go to my learning, like it says in the toast message. And you can see that I now have a new learning activity, which is the Certified Scrum Scale Practitioner X. The X just to demonstrate that even though the event that the course was organized under is called Certified Scrum Scale Practitioner, you can change the title of the actual course to be more contextually relevant if you desire. And it shows the dates. I can go in here to launch.
Like if you were doing Scrum at Scale for Government, something like that.
Right, exactly. If you want a little bit of customization on that, so we give you the freedom to title it however, whatever you want. So once the student goes into this training activity, here's where they see the sessions. And so here's where that information becomes relevant. This would list all the sessions, all the information about the different sessions. So that's pretty much the outcome of the work to add sessions is just having it displayed here. You probably have it displayed on your personal event registration page, so that's why it's not necessarily required or necessary. But if you do want it, it's here. Materials.
If we were doing sorry, Rob, if we were doing like a Scrum Around the World, for example, and we wanted to put the sessions in there, we could put all the sessions with who the speakers were going to be.
Mm-hmm. And then here's where they access that the courseware that you had for the course. So as soon as you give the student a token, as soon as they come to our community platform and submit the token, that's where they can have access to anything that you put in that course materials section. So if you wanted to disseminate files beforehand, well, that's where you do it. Make sure they come in before the course and they can download these resources.
What language is that written in?
The materials?
No, the site.
The what?
Oh, the site.
What language? Oh, the programming language. This is Salesforce, so it's all JavaScript and Apex derivative of Java. So this stuff all here on the front end for the community is all JavaScript and Apex controllers. And it uses, these ones are Lightning web components, whereas some of the other ones this is part of a package that we got. So it's the Aura package, and then some of the other ones like the course calendar is all made of Lightning web components. So that's pretty much, that's it for registering. Let's see here if I got, once you teach the course, you have a list of people who attended, you take attendance, you know who's there. As an instructor now, you can go back to let us know who attended. So just because 18 people showed up with the registration code and submitted it, if only 15 people showed up to your course, well, you want to let us know that so that we don't invoice you for the full 18. The way you do that is you come back into the course. You can see here in the roster, this is a bit weird. You have to click on the number. It's not super intuitive, but just know that under the roster, there's a number of, this is how many people have submitted the code. There's one. It was myself. It could be a student. It could be an internal user. It could be anybody. But the way we handle this is just go here, Martin Trainer, he attended. So I'm going to check this user as attended and save. What that has the effect of doing is assigning a learning plan to the students. What the learning plan is it contains the course instructor feedback survey and includes the exam. For now, it's only those two things. In the future, we have a whole plethora of things we could add. So once we start developing these courses in a more richer state, we'll have a little bit more steps to these learning plans. But right now, this is just the exam. Like I said, this is MVP, so we're just trying to replace the features that we have in the old system. So that's what we have. The way that looks is I will go back to the community. Go back to the My Learning tab, to the magic of manual automated processes. We have get to know the, we have, oh yeah, over here, certified Scrum at Scale practitioner course. So this shows up on all the students in that course once you mark them as attended and save it. I'm going to launch it. And you can see here, description about the course. Here's the activities. We have the feedback survey. I'm going to launch that. So we have some questions to go through here. This is specific to the instructor. And I'm not going to fill it out just so I can save on cleanup work after the demo. And I'm pretty sure we have the ability to, I don't think that, oh, the exam. So the exam doesn't show up until I submit that, but it's the same thing. You click launch and then the exam will be there. So this is where they take the test. It looks pretty much like the one we have now. You click an answer, you answer it and go next, and then you submit when you're done, and it gives you a score immediately.
So can I interrupt real quick there, Rob, as well?
Yes.
So the other reason why it'll be so important to go in and mark the people who have attended the course as attended is that they won't get access to the feedback survey or the exam until you have done so.
Right. Yeah, very important.
And will we be able to see for individual students the items that they got right and wrong on the exam?
I think it'll be more generalized than that. I think for a certain class, you'll get the pass-fail rate, and then you'll get your feedback survey, which will be anonymous.
Okay.
So for a student, we
might
won't
be,
tell you exactly what they give you, just for privacy purposes.
so it might be something to consider for the future, just for us as trainers. I'd want to know if students are over and over missing on certain things. I'd want to know, I should go back and hammer on that or figure out a better way to teach that. So maybe for your backlog, something to consider.
We're gonna give you a breakdown of responses with correct versus incorrect based on certain categories. So you'll have topics. You'll be able to see charts and reports about which topics your students are doing well in and which topics your students are struggling with.
I see. Okay, just not the names.
One of the main reasons we don't want to have you access to the questions is because in the future we're gonna make the quiz a lot more robust and a lot more substantial of a test. So we want to kind of keep those questions and answers sort of tight-lipped as much as we possibly can.
And then,
we don't want to give you the answers and all the questions.
Yeah, and then also, Dave, I think that was you speaking. I couldn't see.
It was, yes.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. The other thing is from a privacy policy perspective. So at some point, we may be able to say, do you approve us allowing or providing your instructor with this information? And then we'll be able to provide it to you from those people who have said yes, but otherwise we'll just have to give it to you in a summary format.
Yeah, I think, Carol, I agree with him there. I think a summary format would be amazing. It's Michael here. Just if, like, let's say, like, I don't know, I can't even think of a good question, but let's say you had a question and just all your students are missing that one, then you can make sure to fix up how you present it in the course so it becomes more of a key highlight.
Yeah, and we'll definitely be able to do that. The exciting part about what we're doing with Salesforce is that it's Salesforce, and we will have more data than we know what to do with, I think. So
right.
We're pretty excited to be able to give you guys that kind of detail.
Yeah,
and
I
also
think
just
being able
throw
to
it out there. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
being able to see the questions that are like getting wrong or that people are getting wrong, or if there's some way to even flag that. But I know that there have been specific classes where if you're co-training with someone or there's a student that kind of drives people down a bad direction, being able to see that as well would be helpful, but that's low on the backlog, in my opinion.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And also keep in mind that we want you guys to teach the content. We don't want you to teach the quiz. The goal isn't to pass the test. The goal is to absorb the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So giving you guys the questions to have you alter your teaching specific to the questions is sort of an anti-pattern.
From a certification perspective, it's definitely absolutely true.
Right.
I
So
mean,
there's a lot. There's a lot to consider. I mean, it's a complex topic.
Like I can give you an example of one, right? So after you go through all the different prioritization mechanisms, there was a question, I can't remember exactly what it is in the test, but it's like, who has the final say on the product backlog? And it's the prioritization mechanism or the product owner. And a lot of students were putting down the prioritization mechanism just because they just had a whole module on NPV and all these different things. They're presuming that's the correct answer. So just knowing that allowed me to adjust the lesson just to remind them of that.
Right. That makes sense.
Example one.
Well, we'll have a lot of stats for all the questions. So if there's a question that is like missed 80% of the time, then we know that that's a bad question, and then we can take steps to remove it. So we'll be active on the stats around the answers and stuff for you guys.
Cool.
I mean, that kind of wraps up the creating a course, getting it out to the students registering, and then taking the exam. Do you guys have any more questions on that piece?
Yep, I've got a quickie on registration.
Sure.
What's the motivation behind continuing with the unique access code or unique token, given that in the past it has resulted in people accidentally using it multiple times, and you've got a workaround in there now where you can actually then modify the list of participants who actually attended, which is good. But why not actually solve the real problem and actually make it that the trainer uploads, having got the GDPR or whatever data permission from the participants, uploads those participants' names and email addresses, actually really turning the whole thing around.
Well, that's a good question.
Much cleaner, to be honest.
That also comes with a few issues as well. But I will tell you that you can actually upload a list of people.
And with can we completely not give them the access token and just upload them?
As long as they come to our site first, voluntarily create a user. We don't have any automation around creating users for people for GDPR purposes, because we don't have those permissions. Even if you say you do, we can't just bring them into our system and then start sending them a bunch of emails out of our system. But what you can do is if those students come to our system, register themselves, then you can upload a CSV of email addresses, but they have to be already in our system. So you can go here, create multiple assignments.
I would just add that multiple other organizations that I'm aware of or have figured out that.
So Simon, I will let you know that we did have a lot of conversation around this, and we can make it easier to do this, import the CSV if people want to do it that way. There's downfalls of doing it that way is that so right now with the new system, this is kind of the way that you can distribute your courseware ahead of time without you having to do it anymore. They just log in, they create it, they're assigned to that course, and until they're marked attended, all they get is the course materials if you want to provide it to them that way. If you wait until the end of the course and they've already taken it and you upload their information so they have access to the system, then you still have to use kind of whatever techniques you use to distribute the content. So there's pros and cons on both sides. But I will tell you that I know of 2 other organizations that do it exactly the way you're talking about. And there are pros and cons on both sides. So
we're probably thinking of the same organizations.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd be
probably
really excited to maybe have a conversation with you guys about that and talk about the pros and cons on each side. But we did take those into consideration as we were doing it. And courseware distribution is, I think, a really big benefit of this new system as well.
Okay, thank you.
And also to throw it in there, the whole point of this system is to be a complete replacement for the old system, so we didn't add new features. Now that it's running, we will, and so that's something we will look at.
There's another before you move on. There's another one that I just wrote down as you were going over the course entries or the showing how to set up a course. Something I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago. I think for virtual courses, it's really important to have the time zone.
Yeah, you can select the time zone, and then we will. I have a ticket to add the time zone to these
Okay,
listings
is it
and
good?
and
It's
to
in the
the course
backlog.
searching.
That's the main thing. Fantastic. Thanks.
Backlog, but on the very near term backlog. It's actually in the next sprint. So
Super. Thank you.
yeah. So
And that
okay,
will
so you
be,
can see,
people will be able to search on that time zone, will they?
yes, over here in the left-hand column, I'm going to add time zone and language.
Ah, oh yeah, also important. Yeah.
Yes, very much. All right, so you can see here that course I just created is here. As soon as you create it, it's published on the calendar. My details link will take you to the page where you put in that course registration page. Of course, I just used Google. So that's however it is. Well,
Can you show the map for you too, please?
oh yeah.
It could
And
be
then there's-
Eventbrite or our website or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I do have the, I need to change the scaling on that again. So here's the search results on the map. And again, you can access the registration code from here. That doesn't look like it's in Saudi Arabia though.
How come that one doesn't say view details, Rob?
Which one?
Right there, it says register instead of view details.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Let's add that to the backlog as well.
Yep.
So, you know, early young system, it's got the new software smell. There's a few things in there. as any new system. So you guys will have the pleasure of being the first ones to see all the bugs.
Yeah, so we did, you know, we invited about 46 of the trainers, and in the message that we sent out was anybody who has a course currently listed within the first or in the next 90 days. So that's kind of how we're rolling it out in kind of sections as well and iteratively. So, and then also if anybody could please, if you have any questions or whatever, reach out to support at scrumatscale.com, and then we'll make sure that we've got the ability to get your issues and questions addressed as soon as possible. We've also implemented a new support tool through Salesforce as well, called Service Cloud. So it really allows us to make sure that we're getting back to you on a timely basis and have some service levels built in.
And tracking.
Mm-hmm.
So there is one feature that's nice about this platform that wasn't in the old one, is that I can cancel a course instead of having to find some weird workarounds like marking it private or something. So yeah, I'm going to cancel that course I just created because obviously I don't want anybody to accidentally register for it and make me teach their course. That would not be a good idea. So I'm going to cancel that course. It's no longer in the calendar. It's all off the grid.
Hey,
And
Rob,
then
I have a question. What happens if you have somebody registered for that course and you cancel it?
they get a message that says this course has been canceled.
Thank you.
Or if you change the dates, they get a message. Basically, if you change anything on the courses, anybody who's registered will get an email about the change. And then you can see here how the token has been revoked as soon as I cancel the course. So nobody else can use that code even if they have it. Let's see here. What else we got?
Can you go back? Sorry, could you go back to the to the homepage on the platform itself from a user perspective?
This one?
Just kind of show the buttons there too, that they're kind of similar to the ones up top.
Oh yeah, we've got a navigation pane here. This will take you to the calendar, which will be next week. I'm going to do an update to the scrumatscale.com, so it'll have the same calendar. Collaborate, and I'll go through each of these as well. But collaboration is just a series of chat groups. Kind of replaces the Slack channel. This is a permanent repository of comments, chats, conversations, whatever you want. Media, this is where we're going to start releasing a lot of our material for videos, webinars, case studies. My Learning just takes you to the My Learning page that I showed you earlier, and then support. For the students, it takes them to a portal in which they can open cases, they can view cases, and they can interact with us. For the trainers, for the time being, you still have to just use email support. It's a limitation of the license we've chosen for you guys, so we're actively trying to find a workaround for that. But at the current time, the support isn't actually there for trainers in the way that we want it. Why am I drawing? That's weird.
I don't know.
That was actually me. This is
Oh,
Dave.
okay.
Just there's a little typo there. Need help.
Oh, thank
Need help.
you.
Oh yeah. Hey, nice. We need some hats on typing.
Thank
I need
you,
help all the
Dave.
time.
A lot of hats. Okay, so I'm gonna go over to the collaborate group. So the ones that say private, Scrum at Scale practitioners, this is the group for all the people that have the certificate. The trainers group is a group for just the trainers, and then the Scrum at Scale open group is just for anybody that has a membership access. They can get in there and talk anything Scrum at Scale. So you can come in here, you guys can chat. Only trainers can be in here. All trainers can see it.
So trainers will
and-
have access to all groups.
Yeah, trainers will have access to all groups. You do have to request access to them. We don't want to put you in there automatically because it does send email, and we don't want to force you into the group. So it's up to you. Just click ask to join, and we will let you in. It's not automated yet, so we physically will go in there and answer these responses. And we'll just let you into the group, and then it'll show your stuff here, whatever you post. Here's the files you have access to, any kind of charting that we give you for the charts will be in here, just various information. There's things like polls. You can post videos to it. You can post images, whatever you want.
Are we replacing Slack, or is this
Eventually, yes.
Okay.
And the reason being is that we don't want to pay the enterprise rates for Slack to keep the retention past whatever the message quota is. And so this right here is indefinite retention for us. So we can always have this. It's searchable. It'll stay there. It's all organized in one place. We can respond to you. Other people can see the stuff coming in, even if they weren't part of the channel, like how Slack is. Over here on the leaderboard, you get points for various stuff, for answering questions, for making posts, for liking different things, for posting videos, having polls, answering questions. So right now it's just us in here, and then my fake user. Even my fake user is on the top board. So I would suspect it'd be very easy to get up on the leaderboard right now. And we'll kind of gamify the system as we go on. So we'll give you like various badges and statuses and all these cool stuff, that free internet points that everybody loves. Going over, do you guys have any questions on that before I move on? This new button will go away. Okay, moving to media, just a quick tour. So going forward, we're going to have all videos here, even videos at scrumatscale.com will proxy through this, because we can get various insights into the usage and the consumption of the videos, as well as automated transcripts, searching, and hopefully soon we'll have some video recommendation services like YouTube uses for their AI categorization. We're going to implement that as well. You can subscribe to this, so you can get an email every time we add a video if you want. This is basically just a proxy itself around YouTube. So all these are just YouTube videos. Let's see here. Case studies. All of our new case studies will be here for you guys to reference. And just broken down by categories of industry. With some very cool icons by our own Jack. Very nice job. That's pretty much it. FAQs. We'll be publishing information here about various topics. So hopefully, well, I guess that was a bad one to pick. But also that one was a bad one to pick. So we still have some to-dos on this, it looks like, but here you can see some questions and Q&As, and these are all searchable too. At any time, you can click on the search box in this site and just type in what you're looking for, and it'll find it. It'll find anything that it thinks is relevant anyway. And that's true for the students.
Excuse me. And then, Rob, can you go to the homepage and show the trending topics?
Yes. Oh, the frequently asked questions here?
Yeah.
Okay, so these are trending topics based on popularity of what other people are looking for, searching for, asking for. I'm not actually sure how this is determined. Maybe it's manual. Here's a list of super common things.
Yeah, it's just the ones that are asked the most, the top 5 right now.
Oh, okay. So it is
But
dynamic.
of course,
Okay, so
those
cool.
are just based on what Lindsay has gone in and Deb has gone in and checked on.
Ones that I've clicked on.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So the higher the click rate, these things will respond to that.
Correct. Yeah. Higher the view
Cool.
rate. Yep.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
Yep.
So yeah, keep an eye on this stuff, and we can show you what other people are looking for.
Yeah, and then also we can know, you know, if we're getting that question a lot, then maybe the UI on the platform's not so great, and we can go back and fix it, sort of thing, so that question's not asked so much anymore, and something else raises to the top. So it gives us an opportunity to figure out how to service our community much better than we can today.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Here's your profile, which I would encourage you to fill out. Right now, it's not super relevant because we're not porting this information anywhere, but we will start to pull this information for your courses. And this image, of course, will flow to your course listings on the calendar. We had your images on the old system, but we didn't pull them to the new system just because I figure we let you guys handle your own images. Unless anybody feels strongly about that, we can try and address that. But here's where you would set that image under your user icon over here on the top right, sorry, and do my profile. If you go to my settings, this is where you would want to control, let's say you're getting too much email. You can come here and kind of tune that a little bit as far as how much email you get. Once we do start displaying trainer information, like the trainer directory is one thing that we're going to have dynamically. Right now, it's a manual list we have to maintain at scrumatskill.com. This will allow us to do that in an automated fashion. And this is where you would control, am I listed as a trainer on the directory, and what information is listed. So just keep in mind that these are the defaults, and we will go with these defaults. So your name and address is restricted, or address is restricted, so it's just your name and title, and everything else is restricted. So it's pretty tight aside from your name. There'll be a checkbox in here to be if you want to be in the trainer directory or not. You can set your time zone here, and your location and your language. This is where the students control the language of the exam that they receive. Right now, you have to specify in the old system, or the current system, the old system, whichever we want to call it, I guess old now, you have to specify the language of the course and the language of the exam, I believe. Here, the language is independent of the course, it's independent of the trainer. It has everything to do with the student's settings. So the student will come here and they will change their language to, I guess I need to add the languages in, but they can change it to like Spanish. And if you mark somebody as attended who has a Spanish language selected, then they will automatically get the Spanish test. So you could have a class with 5 different languages, and you just have to specify it once as you actually, you don't have to specify a language. You just say, I have a class, and the students can tell the system what language they want it in. It has nothing to do with the language that you select on the class itself. That's just the language that you teach it in. That's just it's just a database entry. We don't do any automation on it. We don't report on it. It's just information purposes for yourself.
Can I make a comment on that?
Yes.
Thanks. A typical situation when I teach courses in German is that people, I mean, often the course will be in German, but they would like to receive communication in English and or German. They might actually set up their preferred language as German in their profile, but then they would want to take the test in English. I think it's really important that when the test launches, that they get the chance to choose the language. I don't think it's associated fundamentally, or should be associated fundamentally, with their profile language.
Okay.
Great feedback, Simon.
Good feedback.
Another comment on that sort of functional area, if it's, or would you rather take questions later?
No, questions is fine. Yeah, please.
Thanks. Do we now have the concept of an organization, such as a company with a number of trainers? Previously it's been a whole bunch of trainers with no mapping between trainers and company. Do we have that now?
Well, okay, so unfortunately, because of that, in the old system, as I migrated everybody over, there is no association, so it is just a bunch of trainers. But being Salesforce, it does inherently have the ability to structure by the company that you work for. So yes, we can have a bunch of students who are all part of the company, and then they can sort of collaborate if they want to, and we can have a bunch of trainers. And if you guys, if we want to set it up in the way that you can have a main company with a bunch of trainers attached to it, and then you guys can all see each other's assets. We could set it up like that. We could do it more hierarchical than that by having a company. We could have admins, we could have trainers, and we could have super users, so that the super users could see everything, while the trainers could only see their own stuff, and the assistants could see specific things. So we do have a lot of flexibility in that way. And we
Sure, but it's
absolutely
not there
will
now.
go that way.
It's not there now.
It's not set up that way, but if you have a specific case, like the functionality is there, it's just the data is not set up that way. So if you do have a special case and you want to open just send an email to us at support@scrum@scale.com.
To be frank, I think that's the normal case. I don't think that's a special case. I think the concept of organization, the training organization should be a first-class object.
It absolutely is.
Okay.
So we just don't.
Cool.
But it's not. All I'm saying is that in the legacy data I brought over, we don't know those associations.
No, sure. Yeah.
So I don't have a way of grouping them. But if you wanted to open a case with us, or just let us know, we can certainly work with that and probably build it out for you.
Yeah, we definitely will do that. It was just the MVP is to get rid of the legacy system and then iterate from there.
Sure.
So,
so yeah, we certainly are going that direction.
Another great question that we had come in, Rob, through chat is when does the system go live? So the answer is the system is live now. To the people who are on this call, you should have received an email with regards to that. And will I be able to log in with the same password? The answer to that is no. Well, kind of. You can create your own password that is the same as your old one. But you should have received an email. Not too many people have tried to log in yet. So I really encourage everybody to log in. As Rob has mentioned from the beginning, for the trainers, it's a little bit different because we had to make you guys a part of the Scrum at Scale administrative pool. So we couldn't give everybody, like, your email address is not your login ID anymore for this particular system. It will be your email address, but the domain, the first part of your email address, but the domain will change to
Scrum.trainer.com.
Scrum.trainer.com. Thank you, Lindsay. And that's all in that email. If you did not receive an email, please send us an email to support and we will get that figured out for you. But you can just go in there, use that new login credentials, and then set your password.
And also you can open a case. We can let you know what your username is.
Yeah.
That's a temporary thing too. We will we have some plans in place to get rid of that. We do want to get away from that. We understand that that's an anti-pattern. We understand it's kind of a pain. Bear with us. That's one of those things that allowed us to release the system now, as opposed to continuing to work on it for another 6 months and then releasing it. So we figured it's better to use the system now with a few quirks, like the username issue, than to try and just not have a system that we could, scale.
And it only affects the trainers, so we know you're flexible. So yeah, if anybody has any other comments, questions, concerns, or doesn't want to, say them out loud, send them in the chat. That'd be awesome. We'd love your feedback. And
I guess one more thing I forgot to mention, actually 2 things I forgot to show. So in order to get your actual certificate, as long as it's not expired, you can just come in here to My Learning and you can see under achievements, I've got the Scrum at Scale practitioner. Actually, I've got 2 of them here. Click on it and it brings you to your certificate. The images will be updated. This will be slightly changed, but for now, this is what it is. And then about assistance, So we have the ability to add assistants. I'm going to add that. I'm going to add them to the system. If you're currently a trainer that's active in the system, I'll add your assistants probably this weekend or Monday. And so your assistants will also get the email about being able to access the system, and then they will be able to create courses for you.
Just one question about the email you just mentioned. We should have got. There's one thing. I got the invitation for registering for the Friday's webinar, which is this one. Was there one before with the credentials, with the password stuff like that?
Yeah, plus
you got.
Because I missed this, for example. I haven't done that.
Just send an email to support@scrumandscale.com and we'll get you your username.
Right.
The email went out and it said it just had your username, and then you have to use the create password on the login screen.
Okay, good.
I think it's about a week ago, something like that.
Yeah, it should have come out on Tuesday if you want to take a look.
Perceived time a week ago. But...
Yeah.
Right.
Time is relative right now, right, Simon?
Yeah, I think it's like March 74th.
It should have come from support@scrumatscale.com too, just before that email that you're mentioning that you received.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I've just searched for the email address support@scrumatscale.com, and I just find this one where I was welcome to the platform, but not with my email address and whatever. Login. So I just send an email to support.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, and then we can, and then if you send an email to us, we'll just generate a email back to you that has a link to create a password, so you can skip the clicking here.
And so the question is, when does the transfer period start? Because now I have already registered and created classes with the old link and so on. And so when do we have
so
to?
Here's the status on that. Until June 1st, you can use both systems. If you create a course in the old system, then I have a program that syncs it.
Okay.
Might not be right away, but it will create a course in the new system, and then by the time June 1st comes around, all of your old courses they'll be visible to you in the new system. Right now they're not. Right now I actually own all of the courses, so I can see them all.
Okay.
But there was a limitation on the system where when I created your users as inactive, and then during the migration, I was unable to give you ownership of them because you weren't active yet, because we still have some trainers in there that are sleeping. So once we get past that, then all those retro courses will be granted to you, and you can edit them in the new system. Long story short, if you created a course in the old system, maintain it in the old system for now. If you created a course in the new system, it will not be in the old system. It's just going to be in the new system. But please create courses in the new system starting now, because there's, like I said, we cranked this out as fast as we could to get you guys using it. And so given that, you guys know the engineering triangle of speed, quality, and cost, we kind of flexed on time a little bit on that one. And so there's probably going to be some issues we need to take care of. And so we'd like you guys to help us find those. So yeah, if you could use it, create courses, let us know your feedback, let us know questions you have. Anything that's weird, confusing, stuff we should change, we can do that now. So yeah, go ahead and use it. That'd be great. We'd love it if you could log in and create a course.
So if I have courses that I wanted to delete in the old course, I just edit it, delete it in the new system, and then leave them to the old system to expire.
Yeah, well, if you, wait, say that again?
I have a course that I wanted to cancel, so I shifted it in somewhere in the future,
okay.
And so on. So I now go to the new system, I delete it there, or and leave it just to the old system to move away.
I think the best route for that one, Rob, and tell me if I'm wrong, would be just to ask us to cancel it in the old system.
Good.
And then we'll have you go and create it in the new system in like a day or so. Does that work, Rob?
As long as you don't, as long as you want the course active, yeah. I think another workaround is to mark the class in the old system as private, and then it goes off the calendar. But yeah, going like I said, hopefully next week, the people who have access to it, I'm gonna start assigning your old courses to you, and so once you start seeing those, you can edit them in the new system, and it will reflect on the calendar. You don't need to change it in the legacy system, and it's important to know that if you change it in the legacy system, it will not synchronize to the new system. So you'd have to make changes in both. The transformation's it is a bit rocky, but like I said, we're moving fast here, so you know how that works with software.
Rob is really looking forward to you guys' feedback, because then he'll have people, you know, helping him understand what you guys want, and it'll be fun.
Exactly.
Hard to build something nobody's using, so.
Yeah, nobody likes writing software that's not being used. It's not fun.
Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. We are at our time box, so if you do have any questions, I think everybody knows support@scrum@scale.com, or you know, reach out to one of us and we're happy to help. But we're trying to get everybody to use support as much as possible so that anybody can help you.
Thanks, Rob. It looks really fantastic. I'm really looking forward to giving it a whirl.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Can't wait for you to do it.
So everybody joining the happy hour?
Yeah.
Let's go have a glass of wine, guys.
Yeah, I'll pop
No,
in.
it's in the other room. It's in a different room.
The other room again.
Yep.
All right, well, see you